Hello everyone, this is Vimala from Department of Commerce. Today's topic is agricultural credit from the subject sectors of Indian economy. Topics covered in this session are introduction and types of agricultural credit, sources and problems of agricultural credit, and conclusion. Agricultural credit refers to the credit or finance provided to the farmers in rural and agricultural areas. It is considered as one of the most basic inputs for conducting all agricultural development programs. From the very beginning, the prime source for the agricultural credit in India was moneylenders. Agricultural credit is given to farmers by various banks and cooperatives for various purposes such as mortgage assistance, securing new equipment, funds to support research. Considering the purpose and the period of the credit requirement of the farmers, agricultural credit in India can be classified into three major types. Short-term credit is provided to meet their short-term needs like purchasing seeds, fertilizers, paying wages, etc. for a period of less than 15 months. Second, medium-term credit is provided to farmers for a period ranging between 15 months and 5 years, and it is required for purchasing the cattle, pumping sets, other agricultural implements, etc. Last one, long-term credit. Farmers also require finance for a long period of more than 5 years just for the purpose of buying additional land or for making any permanent improvement on land. Sources of agricultural credit in India can be classified into two. First one, non-institutional sources. Under this, first one is moneylenders. From the very beginning, moneylenders have been advancing a major share of farm credit. Second type of source is from traders and commission agents advancing loan to the agriculturist for productive purposes. Third, cultivators are also normally borrowing funds from their own relatives in times of their crisis, both in terms of cash or kind. Last point under this non-institutional sources is from landlords. In India, small as well as marginal farmers, tenants are also taking loan from the landlords for meeting their financial requirements. Second category under rural credit is institutional sources. The main motive of institutional credit is to assist the farmers in raising their agricultural productivity and maximizing their income. Under this, first one is and cheapest and the best source of rural credit in India is definitely the cooperative finance. In India, the active primary agricultural credit societies, also known as PACS, cover nearly 86% of the Indian villages. Next, land development banks are advancing long-term cooperative credit for 15 to 20 years to the farmers against the mortgage of their lands for its permanent improvement, purchasing agricultural implements, and for repaying old debts. Third, commercial banks. In the initial period, the commercial banks of our country have played a marginal role in advancing rural credit. After the nationalization of commercial banks in 1969, the commercial banks started to extend financial support both directly and indirectly, and also for both short and medium periods. Next, as per the recommendations of Working Group on Rural Banks, the Regional Rural Banks (RRBs) were established in 1975 for supplementing the commercial banks and cooperatives in supplying rural credit. Another important source of agricultural credit is the government of our country. These loans are known as the Takavi loans and are led by the government during emergency or distress like famine, floods, etc. Since independence, the institutional credit structure in India was very poor. In the post-independence period, various attempts were made by the government for enriching the institutional agricultural credit structure of the country. The following are some of the problems. First one, insufficiency. In spite of expansion of rural credit structure, the volume of rural credit in the country is still insufficient. Second, inadequate amount of sanction. The amount of loan sanctioned to the farmers by the agencies is also very much inadequate for meeting their different aspects of agricultural operations. Third, lesser attention of poor farmers. Rural credit agencies and its schemes have failed to meet the needs of small and marginal farmers. Fourth, growing overdues. Growing overdues have also been resulted from poor repaying capacity of farmers. Fifth, inadequate institutional coverage. In India, the institutional credit arrangement continues to be inadequate as compared to its growing needs. Last one, red tapeism. Institutional agricultural credit is subject to red tapeism. Credit institutions are still adopting cumbersome rules and formalities for advancing loan to farmers, which ultimately force the farmers to depend. For effective modernization of agricultural sector and also to stimulate its growth pattern, a broad-based and simplified rural credit structure is very much desired and important. Thus, in order to remove limitations and problems of agricultural credit in India, the following measures may be suggested. First, to monitor the Takavi loan offered by the government in a serious manner. Second, middlemen existing between credit agencies and borrowers should be eliminated. The government should introduce the credit guarantee scheme so as to provide guarantee on behalf of the farmers for getting loans. Next, the bank should adopt procedural simplification for credit delivery through rationalization of its working pattern. Next, cooperative credit societies can be transformed into a multi-purpose society with sufficient funding capacity. Next, credit should also monitor over the actual utilization of loans by developing an effective supervisory mechanism. Last, a credit card should be issued against each farmer, which will show the details about the loan taken by them. Thank you, girls.